This is Kubrick from Division, and I thought that it's time to put another tutorial together. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna talk about in this one, but I guess I'm gonna show you some FL Studio tips. And I'll start putting together a standard drum and bass drum loop, a break, whatever you call it. So I have a BPM of 174, which is pretty standard, and I have a first kick here. Now, a tip for you when you're putting together a drum break: to use the volume envelope in a sampler. You pick an instrument properties here and pick a volume 1 here. Now the standard value would be, let me just see, yeah, tip number 1, hold down the Alt key and press on the knob to return its standard value. So I tweak it and hold Alt key and left click on it, it will turn to the standard value. So now this kick sounds like this with the envelope with the standard value, but we don't need it, so drop down the attack, the hold and the sustain, and we're gonna play with the decay and release knobs. Now as I start to turn the decay down, you'll hear how the sound changes. It's getting shorter. Okay, this is the value I like. When you take off the envelope and your notes are like this, or like this, or like this, the sound will sound the same, but with the envelope on, you hear that when I change the length of the notes, the sound changes. Okay, so now I'm gonna pick a snare. Same thing here, use the volume envelope, drop down these values underneath the decay and the release. Put it on insert 4. Envelope on again. Again, holding the Alt button, pressing on knobs to return the default value. Now if you put a break in a slicer, then some notes sometime will be like this, and they will sound out of sync with the rest of your drums. Now if you're too lazy to adjust the notes manually, you can do this by holding the Ctrl button and pressing Q, Ctrl Q, bam, and drums line up nicely. Now when I layer the break, I usually cut out the low end so it won't interfere with the single hits of snares and kicks. And when you put a break into the slicer, the volume envelope is usually on with these values. Now drop everything down again and put the decay up and release. And you hear how the sound changes again. Put another break on, Ctrl Q. Again, I cut out the lows. Play around with the velocity so it won't sound too mechanical. This time we're gonna make them shorter. Again, play around with velocity. I use the same channel, same insert. Again, Ctrl Q. And I guess here you have it. Okay, that's all for me. I'm going back to sleep.